we were talking about we just need people doing a better job, not more people. Here's a perfect example of that. So yesterday, Canada's Auditor General published a report on the audit that it did of the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency.
Okay.
So the auditor, maybe I don't know if you want to find a page of it. I'm sure you can find it. Just find anything, because everybody's laughing at this. Like, everybody's laughing at this. The big joke of that one is look up a CRA is correct 17% of the time. Just look that up. So while you do that, so the Auditor General, that's, Canada has an Auditor General who picks a file once in a while and just goes and checks how things are doing. So the Auditor General audited the Canada Revenue Agency. The Canada Revenue Agency only answers yours and I's questions correctly 17% of the time. So what they did for this is they hired people to call the CRA and ask questions, and then they evaluated how they answered the questions. I think they had 500 people ask questions, and they got the answer right 17% of the time. So you and I call, we get it wrong because our tax code is so complicated. We're hiring people that are incompetent, and then they give us bad information. So then we keep filing and calling more people. We call more often, and because we're calling, the phone lines are plugged, which is another one of their metrics. The CRA has a mandate to answer your and I's call within 15 minutes. They're supposed to try and do it. Their target is to answer us within 15 minutes 65% of the time. They're doing it 20% of the time. So then people are like, so the Auditor General starts and looks and says, okay, well, these guys aren't doing very well. And he digs further. The Auditor General found that the average CRA employee is evaluated on only about 10% of their evaluation is based on their performance of answering questions from the public and giving good information. The other 90% of their evaluation is how polite they are, how well they're meeting DEI targets, how they're blah blah,
how not white they are.
Being evaluated on things that don't. Yeah, they're being evaluated on how white they are and how polite they are and how often they go to work with blue hair. Meanwhile, how they actually do their job sucks. They can't be fired. The problem keeps getting compounded. And that was the other thing Carney says this week. Oh, well, we're going to hire... Well, what did Louis-Philippe Champagne say this week? He said it again. We're going to create a new department. So this is the fourth new department now, right? So we got the procurement department for defense, the major projects department. What was the other crazy new one? The housing department. And now Philippe Champagne's going to create a department to look into fraud. Our own government is going to investigate fraud. Even the journalists are almost laughing on the Hill going let me get this straight. So you guys, the biggest crooks, are going to investigate fraud. Okay, how's that going to go?
And I'm sure they'll find lots of it.
Yeah, and then they said, well, you already have FinTrack, and you already have all these groups. And he's like, oh, no, we need something better. And then in the next sentence, he's like, we'll take the best of those groups and bring them over to this department. They're just...
Wow.
They're just spinning. They're just spinning. Yeah.
RCMP is supposed to be doing that, and when we get whistleblowers from CSIS talking about it, they ignore that. But if you're going to listen to stories about taxpayers, well, why not listen to the Taxpayer Federation? Here's Franco Terrazzano talking about exactly that.
Breaking news, a report from the Auditor General is damning about the CRA. Okay, it found that the CRA is giving individual taxpayers the right answer just 17% of the time. Think about it, okay? When individual Canadians are asking questions about their own taxes, the CRA is only giving the right answer 17% of the time.
Wow.
And when people are asking the CRA about their business taxes, well, it's a flip of a coin on whether or not they'll get the right answer from the CRA. And even then, the CRA is not giving a complete response. So again, breaking news, crazy report from the Auditor General where the CRA is giving the right answer to Canadians asking about their individual taxes only 17% of the time.
This is insane because, what if you call them up and ask them a question about the legality of should I file my taxes this way or that way, or what should I pay this, and you get it wrong? You're on the hook, and you're going to go to jail over the tax fraud or evasion.
You get, first of all, you get a first of all, you only have like a 20% chance of them answering you in 15 minutes. And then if they answer you, then you get only a 17% chance that you'll get the right answer. So then you're going to you're going to act accordingly, and you're going to.
Oh, we lost your audio. Sorry, but then we also, it would be, you know, maybe a 15% chance that you can understand their accent from some other place in the planet that they're from, because I'm sure with the DEI circuit and our immigration, the way it's been working these days, I'm sure you're gonna get lots of Canadians on the other side of the line. There, this is crazy. This is unbelievable. Oh, you're still gone. The audio's still gone. I don't know. Still, yeah, it jumped out. We're waiting for Marty to get another computer, which is going to be, I think, on his Christmas list this year, and get that so that we don't have the skipping audio.
This only happens when I'm doing a podcast. It only happens when I'm doing a podcast with you. Like, I do shows with a whole bunch of other people, and the problem is at your end. You're sucking too much data out of me or something. I don't know what it is.
Do I have to lower? Maybe I have to lower the resolution. I got it at 1080p. Maybe I gotta go down to 720. Maybe that's what it is.
We'll make it work. And it happens when I talk too much. I'll talk less.
Well, where do we need to go? Because I don't know if we're gonna get to every single story, but like.
Well, we're running out of time, but the last story I wanted to talk about is, part of the budget is we're like one of the things Carney talked about.
Lost the audio again. Sorry, this is happening. One of the last things that Mark Carney wanted to talk about. We're gonna get to it, but in the meantime, I guess one of the big stories that broke this week, and I covered it this morning, was the fact that people in British Columbia are losing their homes, or potentially might be losing their homes. This made American news, not the Bee reporting on this one. Canadian city tells disarmed citizenry, because we're not allowed to defend ourselves anymore, their homes belong to Native tribes after a pivotal court ruling, ramifications across the country. And what happened was, British Columbia mayor of Richmond, he sent out a letter to the folks of his own city and said, we need to get together and figure this out, because there needs to be a court challenge. They're about to take your property away. Welcome to Richmond, British Columbia, a suburb of Metro Vancouver. Hardly a suburb. It's like right in the city. Chris Billboard saying, did you work your whole life to buy that $2 million home near Vancouver? Too bad. Your home is no longer yours. Brittany saying, congrats. You worked your whole life to buy a home, but someone's great-grandparents might have fished there nearly 150 years ago. So the court says, not really yours. Welcome to British Columbia. Do you think it'll stop in Richmond? Probably not. This is across the board, happening everywhere. It's insane.
That's a bad story. The unfortunate thing is that in this country we are a precedent society, right? A law system. So this sets a precedent. So people can try and do this. I mean, it's a small area. It's like 7 square miles of prime real estate near Richmond, but it still sets a bad precedent. Like, imagine trying to get a mortgage near there in the future. If you're British Columbian, the bank's going to say, ooh, not sure we want to give you money because you can't use your land as collateral because the government can take it away from you. And it also...
Well, not just the government. Natives can come in and take it away from you.
Yeah. No, it's... we're rushing through stories. We can talk about this story during the question and answer. The other one I wanted to talk about was the military spending in the submarines. We announced today that we're going to buy like 6 to 12 submarines. We have no history of... Every time we've operated submarines in this country has been disastrous for us. So why we would buy submarines, I have no idea. The only reason I can think of is to launder more money. Like
what, in the submarines? Oh,
yeah. You buy submarines and then you go, there's my submarines. And everybody goes, where? I don't see them. It's like, oh, they're underwater. You can't see them.
Man, just new clever ways of just spending our money on nothing.
I bought submarines. A space station. What else would we buy?
Yeah, anything that's just not visible. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a lot of the CO2 out of the air. Can you show us?
Yeah, exactly.
Have a look.
Yeah.
It's gone. That's exactly it. And then the last thing I really wanted to touch base on for today was the story about John Rustad in British Columbia.
Ooh.
This has been something that's kind of like it's been stewing. For those that don't know, John Rustad is the leader of the Conservatives in British Columbia. He brought the Conservatives into popularity
So
when
close.
so close, and then as soon as they lost the election,
Unraveled.
what the hell, man? What the hell's been going on? First, he kicks out one of his MLAs from the party for saying something against natives, making up stories and pretending that they're real. Again, all you got to do is pull one bone out of the ground and everybody would shut up about it. But we don't believe that this actually occurred. Well, you can't say that if you want to be a conservative. Conservative values like evidence and all of this, not allowed. Then kicked out a staffer, probably world famous staffer, Lindsay Shepherd, who was famous for almost losing her freedom of speech in Waterloo in her university days, became famous over that and was working for the Conservatives as a staffer, fired over her words in the legislature on Twitter. Actually, she was just on her personal account talking about how the native issue is full of lies. There's a bunch of untruths, like things that are provably not true about the Canadian story and history, and she was fired over it. Now, because there's such a backlash over this, they want to kick John Rustad out of the party. They want him gone.
Well,
This is the letter that went out breaking. The BC Conservative Party Management Committee has written a letter calling John Rustad to resign, citing the unprecedented level of turmoil that has engulfed the party. I mean, I don't need to read the letter. It's pretty straightforward. It's signed by most of them, and yeah, they want him out.
Yep.
What do you say to that?
Can you find Wyatt's clip on that? His post on that? It was funny. He had a good comment. Hey, John. I mean, and I had a serious comment about that. Like, in Alberta here, we are famous for firing leaders. And people always say, like, you know, they think that that's reckless on our part to fire leaders. No, it's not. Like, we're still a pretty prosperous province. We've done extremely well. And so if firing leaders was a bad idea, you'd think that we'd suffer the consequences. But we've had no problem over, you know, we haven't had, I think out of the 7 premiers we've had in this country, only like 2 or 3 started or finished a term properly without being fired. So we have a history of doing that, and it works for us. And I'm glad that there's, you know, it's sad that the Rustad didn't work out, but I'd rather see him gone and start again.
Is this the one Wyatt Claypool saying,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
support
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Rustad staying on as BC Conservative leader? 1, because it's funny, and 2, because it's great for One BC, which is the new party that's starting out of the wake of
The
this.
ashes, or
number 3, it is a big I told you so to all the Rustad loyalists who gave him dictatorial powers at the AGM. Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
Topic. Yeah, we didn't talk about the Conservative AGM. We can talk about the Pierre Poilievre AGM during the chat, because AGMs are important, right? Wyatt makes a good point. You guys gave a lot of power to Rustad. We gave a lot of power to Danielle Smith, and I hate that. That's scary, right? That's very scary.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more clips like that, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. The link is right here. If you want to see it live as it happens, make sure you subscribe to the Clyde Do Something YouTube channel. The link is right there. We'll see you in the next one.